So you can start with your heart opener over your bolster. It's likely, if you're over your bolster, that you might need some additional support for your head. Right, this can be very nice. Hands can be on the rib cage, elbows on the bolster. So this is one option, right? Another option would be the familiar favorite of the blanket roll. You want the blanket roll to be very tight. So for those of us with arthritic hands, that can be a bit of a challenge to get your blanket roll really tight. But you want it to be as tight as you can possibly manage. The thicker the blanket roll, the more dramatic the heart opener will be. So you decide, maybe you need some support for the head here as well. Legs can be in any number of positions, knees bent, soles of the feet together, legs extended. Or if you want to come up and over the blocks in that T position that we have done together any number of times, blocks look like this, going across the mat. So the top block is going to support your head. The bottom block is going to support the inner edges of your shoulder blades. Can be on medium height or high height as you see fit. Then there's an option of coming in with a great quad stretch through Virasana. So that's up to you. You have to have enough props so that you can support your hips as you come back onto your blocks, and find the right distance so that, again, the bottom block is supporting the inner edges of the shoulder blades, not the lumbar spine. And then whatever position you determine is your optimum heart opening shape, right? Not too much. As you stay for a while and really settle in, we're going to stay for several minutes here. Be our opening pose. See if at any point in time, it's an option to either let the head be level with the chest, right? Blocks on the same height. The head block could be higher. Or if you have a block underneath your head and you're using the blanket or the bolster to open the heart, if there is ever the potential to actually let the head lull back any amount, unsupported or supported on the next highest height of a block or a slimmer support. This is really helpful for many of us to let the head lull back. It can feel quite intense, unstable, and unsteady, in which case, obviously, you don't need to do it, but it can be really, really helpful. We talk about compression and traction in our yin practice. And oftentimes we let the head fall forward, which allows traction at the back of the cervical spine or the back of the neck. But compression is something that we don't oftentimes put ourselves in. And when you have supported compression and the muscles grow shorter, right? One bone coming toward the other makes the muscles shorter, then that stimulates the proprioceptor that sends a relaxation response. So any amount of compression that you can comfortably find for your back of your cervical spine at any point, I invite you to find that. And after you have made your refinements and adjustments and you are settled in, commit to a shape. So you allow yourself the first few moments to settle in, adjust, refine, fidget, and then it comes to an end. Commit to stillness in a shape. And of course, then almost immediately you recognize that there isn't really stillness. The day for stillness is coming. But as long as your heart is beating and the blood is coursing and the breath is flowing, there's movement. Thoughts come and go, the mind wanders, we draw it back, there's movement. Once the body grows still, and turning your conscious awareness to the fluctuations of the mind, observing the mind. And at each opportunity, gently guide your mind, your consciousness back to the sensations of the body and the breath. We begin that process of withdrawing from the external world in favor of the internal world, giving yourself the greatest gift that only you can give yourself, your undivided attention, one breath at a time. As you spread the consciousness throughout the whole of the body, notice the quality of sensation. A pinch, a pull, a tug, a stretch, a compression. Any sharp or shooting pain should not be tolerated. Any limb that may be unsupported and is experiencing numbness, tingling, that should not be tolerated. Support the limb. The Yin Yoga is based in the Taoist tradition, the 5-element theory, not the Vedic tradition like our Hatha Yoga practice. So it's different. And that can be quite a challenge for our yogic mind. We come to our yoga mat, we anticipate behaving a certain way, and then you come to this very different practice. Long held, completely supported poses, shapes that we create for our body that bring healthy stress to the joints and the connective tissues. Shapes that address the energy meridians by stretching or compressing, slowing the flow of energy or opening the channels to receive greater flow, greater energy, to change and shift the body, the mind, and the spirit. Very holistic effect and approach. Long held, completely supported shapes. We want to put healthy stress on the tissues, not the unrelenting stress that causes disease and fatigue and deterioration, but a healthy amount of stress so that the body grows stronger, more supple, more hydrated and lubricated, more stable. With each exhalation, receive the invitation to do less. The nature of yin is heavy, dense, thick, and inert. Release the full weight of your flesh and bones onto the support of the earth and the props. Grow as quiet as you can grow. Let go of something somewhere. Even if it only takes the time of the next inhalation for what you just let go of to return again, that's okay. Let it go again. And again and again without any judgment. You may begin to recognize that there are cycles of tension, release, and relaxation. The body and the mind will go through. If you can, in fact, identify those cycles, might move through them rapidly or slowly, or both. But it's when you are at a releasing, relaxing portion of the cycle that you want to very slowly and with tremendous support begin to release the shape at any time now. If you're still softening into the shape, there is no need to release. If you're over the bolster or the blanket, you're going to bend the knees and plant the feet. Slowly roll over onto one side. Keep the head down. Rest on your side. If you're over the block, use the hands. If you're in a virasana shape, as I am, hands to the feet, otherwise holding on to the edges of your mat. Want to have some good pressure down through the earth so that the sternum is what lifts you up, not the chin and not the head. Come up leading with your heart. The head comes last. And then find a comfortable seat. So if you are over your bolster or your blanket, come to sit up, whatever shape you want, just for a moment, to receive the benefits of that nice heart opener. You can begin again to observe the transition. Anytime we shift shape, we go through that transition of excited in the nervous system. We've done something active. And then that process of settling in and down and letting go once again. And then coming to find your version of this position where you're sitting back on and toward your heels. You can sit on your bolster. You can sit on your bolster covered with a blanket. You can sit on your bolster covered with a blanket or two with a pillow. Sit up as high as you need to sit to make this reasonable. If it's comfortable for you, then you might just sit right back on your heels. You might even be able to sit in between your heels. Pay close attention to what you feel. A less sensational pose held for a longer period of time will be more beneficial than a highly sensational pose that you can't tolerate for very long. And once you get yourself set up into this shape, sitting back toward or on your heels, Then bring the arms back behind you and hold on to the opposite wrist, forearm, or elbow. So scanning the body, feel what you feel. And then make sure that you find a shape that's reasonable, that you can sustain for several minutes. Allow the eyes to close if you haven't already. When we allow the eyes to close, we begin that process once again of withdrawing from the external world. Dive in. Notice the most subtle sensation. Commit to this shape. And consider this poem by Dana Fogg titled, Let It Go. Let go of the ways you thought life would unfold. The holding of plans or dreams or expectations. Let it all go. Save your strength to swim with the tide. The choice to fight what is here before you now will only result in struggle, fear, and desperate attempts to flee from the very energy you long for. Let go. Let it all go and flow with the grace that washes through your days, whether you receive it gently or with all of your quills raised to defend against invaders. Take this on faith. The mind may never find the explanations that it seeks, but you will move forward nonetheless. Let go, and the wave's crest will carry you to unknown shores beyond your wildest dreams or destinations. Let it all go and find the place of rest and peace and certain transformation. In reality, you're only surrendering to yourself. We are all members of the human race, maybe affiliated with a particular religious group or ethnic group, or part of our community, family. But when you come to your yoga mat, it is you, with you, for you, by you. Sacred time spent in relationship with yourself, healing, nurturing, loving. Honoring yourself. One more nice deep breath here. Very slowly transitioning at your own pace. You stay as long as you like. But when you're ready, we're going to come on to all fours. Slowly lifting the hips up. Have your blocks available to bolster if you have it. Any other props. Pause in the table shape. And then bringing hands to blocks. The higher the height, the easier this will be to step the right foot forward in between the hands, in between the blocks. Support the left knee as much as you need to. If the knee is feeling tender, blanket, pillow, roll up your yoga mat. If it's really sensational, there's a lot of resistance in the front of the knee to kneel down, you can always support the shin with a block so that the kneecap itself is hovering off the earth, not touching anything. So the high height of the block is helpful for bringing the foot forward. But then as you come into your dragon series here, the high height of the blocks is going to make a bigger stretch for the front of the left leg. So you might come on to the next highest height of block. You might come to the low height of blocks. I recommend that you try it all. Maybe the hands come to the floor. These subtle or not so subtle shifts will address a very different part of the body. And it doesn't matter where you feel it, but that you feel it and the quality of the sensation that you feel. That's what's important. Nothing so strong, the jaw is clenching and the breath is compromised. Nothing so strong that you can't sustain it for several minutes. One isn't right or wrong or more advanced or better than the other. It's just going to address a different part of the body. There are no alignment cues in Yin Yoga. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the front foot is turned in or out, if the knee is over the ankle or front of or behind. Doesn't matter what part of the left kneecap you're resting on. Just that it is the part that you intend to target. That's all. And as you get settled in, begin that process once again of withdrawing the senses, going inward, diving deeper. Settling down. Feeling the full weight of the body relaxing down. You might find that the bolster in front of the left thigh to hold the weight of that left thigh from coming so far forward is very helpful. Or maybe a block at an angle to hold that thigh. If you come forward with ease, you might sit right down the left buttock bone on a block. We're not trying to get to the props. The props are there to hold you in your optimum shape. Noticing where you feel this, what the quality of sensation is. Parts of the body where the energy is opened up, stretching those energy meridians, free flowing energy. Meridians that are compressed to slow the flow of energy. One bone drawn away from another to feel traction in the joint. One bone drawing closer to its neighbor to feel a sense of compression. Notice. Particularly here in our yin practice, will we become acutely aware of the effects of that 1 degree of shift. The slightest refinement or adjustment. Like charting a course, sailing or flying, seems so small at the onset, but in the end, takes you to a completely different place. Same thing here. One little shift. Open up a whole new field of sensation and take you to a completely different place. Just a couple more breaths here, softening, scanning, and letting go. Breathe. At any point when you feel as though you are in the relaxing stage of that cycle, and slowly begin to shift the hips back. Higher height of the blocks will make this easier. Walking the blocks back will make this easier. The more upright your torso, the easier as you shift your hips back and begin to work toward straightening the right leg. It may or may not go straight, don't care. You might need the support to be underneath your right thigh. And then lift your right toes. Relax. Soften. Lean into your props. If you need to adjust your props, by all means. Maybe you need a block on top of a block to hold you upright. Again, maybe a block or a support underneath the right thigh, right knee, right shin. The lower you let the torso come, the more intense that traction, the back of the right leg. So meet yourself where it's reasonable. What the hell does that mean? Well, that's up to you to decide based on what you feel. Not too much. A less sensational pose held for a longer period of time is more beneficial than a highly sensational pose that cannot be sustained without fidget or coming out. Just settle down. Again, you can let the neck be a natural extension of the spine, or the head can hang unless you have cervical stenosis, uncontrolled high blood pressure, detached retina, glaucoma, recent eye surgery, vertigo, or migraine headache. And you want to make sure that the neck remains a natural extension of the spine and support the head. The head is very heavy and the cervical spine quite spindly. So when we were in our heart opener, we were experiencing some amount of compression for the back of the cervical spine or neck. Now maybe a bit of traction. Maybe more of a neutral position. So we have to scan the whole body, not only feeling the most obvious sensations, but also the more subtle sensations. Notice everything. And support yourself so that you go back to the quality of yin, heavy, inert, thick, dense. If you're using a lot of muscle activity and strength to hold you, then you're engaged in yang energy. And this is a yin practice. You really want to do a little less with each moment spent in each shape. Stay with yourself, feel everything. Soften something somewhere. Anything, anywhere. When you are in a relaxation phase of the cycle, with great care, very slowly, using the support of the arms to gently press yourself up, go so slowly. And back to table pose for your neutral shape to pause for just a minute. If there's no joy for you in the table pose, then find some other shape that allows you to relax completely, that is neutral. Maybe lie on your belly or on your back. Look back towards your heels, rest in the child pose. Just 1 minute to allow the body to absorb the healthy stress. Give the body the opportunity to grow stronger, to receive the benefits. And when you feel as though you have returned to a completely neutral sensation field, then again, high height of the blocks is going to make it easy. Using your hand, perhaps, to help bring that left foot forward. So as you slowly bend the knee and shift the hips forward, we're not trying to get to the prop. You let the body go, and then you bring the props to you. So again, maybe that bolster to support the right thigh. And this has nothing to do with the first side. So the props that you use for this first side may or may not be the props that you want to use based on what you feel on the second side. So taking your time to identify an optimum shape, letting the torso grow lower, hands dropping down toward the floor, and then slowly, incrementally rising up. Go through that range of motion that's reasonable, and then identify your optimum shape. Only concern for sensation, the internal world, no concern for the external, for the aesthetics of the shape. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You could be leaning very heavily to one side, shifting the weight. The foot can be well forward or in tight. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it looks like. It only matters what it feels like, so that you are putting your body in a position of healthy stress. Controlling the amount of stress on each joint and connective tissues. The stretching or compressing of the energy meridians. Feel everything. And then commit to a shape that you can sustain with a soft jaw and deep, smooth breath. Sending your consciousness through the whole of the body as you inhale. Noticing, feel the sensation, physical body. And then letting go. Something, somewhere, anything, anywhere. And again, it may take the time of the next inhalation for that tension, the resistance that you just let go of to return again. Perfectly normal. Just let it go again without judgment. And again, and again, and again. Letting go. Dana Fod writes, yoga is not about the pose. It's not the alignment of toes or hips or shoulders. It's not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, body, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement guided from inside. It is healing in the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we are open to what's real. So staying here for any amount longer because it feels good. But when your body tells you that you have received all of the benefits of this long held shape and you're in a relaxation phase, slowly begin to shift the hips back. The position of the hands and arms may need to change. The higher the torso, the easier this will be. And as you shift the hips back and the left leg moves toward straight, straight is not an objective. Lift the left toes and then find the appropriate amount of support for the left leg, the hands, the torso. The lower you bow down, the more intense that traction back of the leg, not going beyond the point of reasonable, mild sensation. A less sensational shape held for a longer period of time is more beneficial. So make your adjustments and refinements. Bring the earth to you in the form of your blocks and props, not trying to get to the props. The props come to you. And identifying your optimum shape based on what you feel. So yes, we want some amount of discomfort. That's the stress, the healthy stress. Not pain, nothing sharp or shooting. If it causes you to clench your jaw and guard against the tension, then you're in too deep. The breath becomes labored, tight, short. You're in too deep. Practicing for you, by you, as you, through you. You have to be the one to decide what is in your best interest. What is too much? What is too little? What is just right? And then go in again and settle down again. And stay with yourself. Observing not only the field of sensation in the physical body, but the fluctuations of the mind. Notice the quality of the conversation that you're having. We're all talking to ourselves. We're crazy. But be sure that your conversation is couched in compassion, nurturing, kind, loving, supportive. Speaking to yourself as you would your dearest friend. Just a few more breaths here. Soften. Maintaining stability, ease. And perhaps the next time that you find yourself in that releasing stage of the cycle, if you feel complete, you might decide to come out. You might decide that you're still releasing, letting go, still benefit to be had from sustaining the shape. And come into your neutral position once more. So slowly, with care and support, find a shape that just allows you to relax completely and receive the benefits. Neutral. Notice how the body feels after releasing a long held shape. What are the results of sustaining that shape? And then when you're ready to carry on, we're going to construct a frog shape. So bolster can be very helpful here. Maybe a bolster with a blanket on top. You might also benefit from a long blanket going the opposite way of your bolster to support your knees. Right? We're going to come on to our hands and knees and take our knees wide. So the inner edges of your knees are going to be on the earth, and that can be quite sensitive area. So you might have a blanket underneath your knees. So as your knees go wide, feet stay in toward one another. We'll go through several variations on this frog shape. So with the knees wide and the feet in toward one another, sitting back toward the heels is one option, coming forward with the hips back, or lifting the hips up so that the hips are more or less in line with the knees, or the hips can come forward. One isn't right or wrong or better or optimum, only what you feel. So as you find the optimum placement for your hips, then bring the earth toward you, not trying to get to the prop. In fact, it's best to start without the prop even round. And then as you come forward, fill the gap. So if the forehead comes right down, that's one thing. You might support just the heart. If the forehead is down, but you feel like you're in a nosedive, then you really need to support the heart. The bolster can go the length of the torso or right across the heart. Maybe you just have a block covered with a blanket at your sternum. It doesn't matter. Get really creative when you're deciding how to support yourself. You have to be the one to decide what shape of support is going to allow you to soften. That's our intention. Letting go, relaxing into a stressful shape. So whatever is going to allow you to relax and do less You feel completely supported in this blissful shape. That's the support that you need. Find your unique shape. Give yourself support. And then once again, begin that process of letting go. Yoga with no goal but to be in the moment. This breath, this stretch, this wave of emotion rolling in. Watch it crest and break, then dissipate. Hold the body like a lover in a close embrace, listening with intimacy, touching with tenderness. Yoga is a threshold into mystery. Each pose an open doorway and an invitation to unfold. Sensations rise and fall, and through it all, the deathless center radiates the simple truth of union. And what it feels like to exhale completely. When you find that you're in the relaxation cycle, very slowly, very carefully, thoughtfully, methodically, slowly release the shape. Come to find a comfortable seated position, whatever that might look like to you. Let it be neutral. And pause. Feel what you feel. And when you're ready, we'll construct the deer shape. So having your props, bolster, blanket, block to the right side. And take the left leg back any amount. For some, this shape is very challenging. So give yourself the support that you need. Modify, modify, modify. And then we're going to lean over to the right. So that might make it easier. If you can rest your forearm, elbow somewhere, maybe the bolster supports that. Maybe the bolster supports your rib cage. But then support your head. Let the head rest, maybe a block or stack of blocks. Whatever it takes to support the head. You might rest in the soft fist or the heel of the hand. So a little bit of a traction as the head lulls over. So you get traction on the left side of the neck, comfortable amount, and lifting and dropping the chin, lowering, turning, finding your optimum shape, not too much. And then once you have determined the perfect position for the neck and head to be supported, the torso held, maybe that left arm goes behind your back. Notice how that feels. Maybe the left hand comes to rest by the left ear. Notice how that feels. The elbow down will create one sensation. The elbow up will create another sensation. Maybe the arm can relax draped all the way over the head, but the arm is relaxing completely. Everything relaxing completely. The position of that left leg, whether it's drawn further forward or further back, will have everything to do with where in this part of your body you create that optimum amount of healthy stress. So we want to feel something. We don't want to feel pinching, we want to feel pinching. We don't want to feel sharp or shooting pain. No numbness or tingling of an unsupported joint. You might need a little more support underneath that left knee or the right knee. Give yourself all the support that you need. Get really creative so that you can relax everything. And as you settle in the first minute of the shape, you might realize that you need to back off a bit, give yourself more support, or you might realize that you can go a little further than you initially thought. Either way, it's okay. So make your subtle refinements and then commit. The time for adjusting is come and gone. Commit to a shape. Make it reasonable. And withdraw your attention from the external world to the internal world again. If the field of sensation is so strong, then the mind is definitely going to want to wander and abandon that strong sensation. So you need to make a shift, no matter how small or big, to really and truly identify your optimum shape. Only concern for sensation, not the external. Yoga practice from the inside, by you, for you, as you, through you. Feel what you feel. Go beyond the most obvious sensations to the background sensations, more subtle and more subtle still. Can you do that? Anywhere you're holding on, you might be able to let go, even for just a moment. And again. And again. Be with yourself. Just a few more breaths here. You like to stay right where you are by all means. But if you feel as though you have received all of the benefits of the healthy stress of this shape, you make the slightest adjustment by simply turning the heart down towards the earth. A subtle shift, but the response to the body could be quite profound. So go slowly, changing your support as needed, giving the forehead somewhere to rest, maybe a block or stacked fist. If the bolster is more support than you need, take it away. Allow your torso to slowly drop down toward the earth, and then based on where the body goes, support yourself from there. Not trying to get to a prop. Bringing the prop to you. Support yourself. It doesn't matter where you feel it, just that you feel it. You certainly can target a very specific part of the body. The nature of fascia and connective tissue, the energy meridians. If you address and affect one part of the body, you will affect the whole body, the whole field of energy. So just settle down and trust that this shape is perfectly adequate. Highly beneficial. If your torso lays right down flat on the earth without resistance, you might try sliding the left palm overhead and turning the gaze toward the right, resting on your left ear, cheek, eyeball, and nostril. If that's still reasonable and the body is open to a deeper expression, you could slide the right hand down And maybe find your left foot. And the left knee might lift, and so you support the knee. You might bring it forward, take it back. Doesn't matter. It's not alignment based. Driven only by sensation. And remembering always that a less sensational pose held for a longer period of time is more beneficial than a highly sensational pose that you cannot stay with for one more minute. Slow the breath down. Soften the face, jaw, throat, belly. Feel the full weight of your flesh and bones rest completely. A deep breath in, sigh it out. When you are in the cycle of relaxing, releasing, slowly, step by step, moment by moment, completely supporting yourself as you release the shape. So slowly. The body is in a fragile state after long held shape. Let the legs come in front of you. If you have your bolster, you might use that to lean back onto your elbows, forearms, or come right down to the floor, lie down. Just rest, pause. Notice what you feel. Feel everything. When you have rested completely, softened into a nice neutral shape, no stress, then and only then we'll begin to construct the deer shape to the second side. So your support over toward the left, the legs in something like a swastika shape, more or less. Just leaning over. Forearm, elbow resting somewhere. This side has absolutely nothing to do with the first side. You slowly find your shape, resting the head in the support of the left fingers, hands, and prop of some sort. Chin tucking or lifting, gazing upward or downward, whatever feels good. Try everything and then decide based on what you feel. And the placement of that right leg, whether it's a little further forward, a little further backward, it's going to change how and where you feel it. Right arm can be along the side of the body, back behind you, gently turning the heart upward. You can rest the right hand toward the right ear. You have to really rest it. So if you're holding the elbow up with energy, muscular strength, then this is not the position. Maybe the arm comes overhead. Maybe your arm goes somewhere where I didn't even think of. Brilliant. The position of the arm will change how and where you feel this. It's not so important where it goes, but what you feel. And what is the motivating factor behind deciding that this is your optimum shape? let it be sensation. Pull somewhere, feeling a sense of traction or a compression, a pinch. Make it reasonable. Making any final adjustments and refinements, and then settling in, committing to the shape. Using the inhalation to spread the consciousness. Using the exhalations to let go. Surrendering only to yourself. Spread the consciousness to the whole body. Notice the more subtle sensations. Just a few more breaths here. You may very well choose to sustain this shape for the duration. That would be a brilliant practice if the choice is made based on what you feel. When the body is in a relaxation cycle, if you choose to shift shape, go so slowly, supporting yourself as the heart turns down toward the earth. Deciding if the current prop is in your best interest or if you like to explore something else. Support the forehead somewhere. Stacked fists, blocks, stacked palms. So the support that you have for deer pose may be wholly inappropriate for the twisted deer. And then again, it may be just right. So explore, ask yourself, what do I need in order to relax completely in this position? You might turn your head so that you're resting towards your right cheek. Might be more like the eyeball, the nostril, the ear. If it's coming along, try sliding the left palm along the earth, reaching. And maybe, just maybe, the right arm extends back behind you, or the left arm, excuse me, and it will find your right foot. And then again, maybe not. But you go to the next stage of the shape because it's the shape that puts you in the optimum, healthy, stressful state. The state where you can relax completely. No striving, no trying, only feeling, sensitivity, honesty, patience. Whatever shape you have determined is your optimum, settle in and down. Once again, here I am, letting go. A few more breaths in your optimum shape, a few more opportunities to soften, to surrender. When you feel complete, then realize that relaxation stage of the cycle. Very gently, slowly, with tremendous support, releasing the shape, putting all of your props aside, and then lie on your back. Maybe supporting your knees with your bolster, your blanket, or your block. Maybe supporting the back of the head with a bit of a pillow or a folded up blanket. Maybe covering your eyes with a folded strap or an eye pillow if you're fortunate enough to have one. And maybe a blanket to cover your body for comfort, if not for warmth. You decide, finding a perfectly comfortable shape, neutral, no stress. Receiving, receiving the benefits of your practice. Observing subtle transformation, shift of energy. And for just a few more moments, relaxing completely and giving yourself the greatest gift that only you can give yourself, your undivided attention, breath to breath, moment to moment. body, trust your body's innate intelligence to inform you when you have stayed for what you deem to be an optimum period of time, not letting your thoughts guide you. There is no need to hurry. And in these final moments of complete peaceful rest, soften into the knowledge that you are deeply loved. Namaste, my dear.